right, partner, we got another episode of our podcast. Man, it's good to be back.
It is wonderful to be here.
Yeah, beautiful day. We're going to be talking to some great people, talking about things that are going on in our county, the partnership that we have with the police department. I'm looking so forward to this.
Yes, I am too. And, you know, a lot of what we do, the public is not aware of, what other county departments do. And in our effort of the podcast, and not only to recruit new talent to the police department, we also want to share how we cooperate with other county agencies and give them a spotlight to to promote what they do as well.
The diversity that we have going on in our community and on our police department is wonderful.
Yes. So today we are going to get into the topic of diversity and inclusion, and from a police department perspective, also from another county department that we want to make the public aware of. So I'm going to start by asking our guest today to introduce herself and tell us a little bit what she does as well as which department she works with.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Dalila Medrano, and I work as the Multicultural Community Engagement Coordinator for Chesterfield County. My position is housed within the Office of Diversity and Inclusion within our Citizen Information and Resources Department.
Awesome.
Wow, that is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. And I'm sure your job is busy. I mean, we have over 350,000 residents here in the county, and ethnically diverse county, so I'm sure you are running everywhere all the time.
And as we were speaking earlier before we got on air, I just want to get into the meat of what you actually do and how it benefits not only the community but our police department with that partnership. But we want to introduce our other guest, Jose. I love you. You're good.
Love you too, Daryl.
Tell us about yourself.
Buenos días. Me llamo Jose Uribe. Good morning. My name is Jose Uribe. I'm the Hispanic liaison for the police department.
Okay.
I've been officer for 10 years. I've been in this position for the last 3 years.
Okay.
As a Hispanic liaison.
Correct.
Right, okay. And that is not your full-time job. That is an additional duty assignment.
That's correct. So I fall under the community engagement unit now. It used to be community policing, but now they changed the name to community engagement, where now we're included with crime prevention.
Okay. Now, you said you've been with us 10 years.
10 years. 11 years, coming in September.
Okay. Tell us about your journey in the police department.
Let's see. I guess.
Are you from this area?
No, I'm not. So I'm originally from Mexico.
Okay.
I was born there. I was raised there for 9 years. Back in '95, my dad brought us here to the U.S. Here in a small town in South Hill. I went to school, graduated from high school, went to college, university, VCU, graduated from VCU. I applied for Chesterfield in other departments, but I really like Chesterfield. Just their value, what their mission was at that time, and also the community of the Hispanics that were living here in Chesterfield. I think I could have made a difference, maybe.
Excellent.
So I applied. I got accepted. Went through the academy, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yep.
Good. You always notice Jose with his vehicle with the flags that he has going down.
That's correct. Yep.
Yep.
So
when they try to run me over.
So you have a uniquely marked vehicle, not a traditional patrol vehicle.
Yes. So there was an idea that I brought up to a supervisor saying, "Hey, I think we should have like a specialty vehicle like we do autism and all the other
Domestic violence, and police week,
recruiting.
Yep.
Right.
And then I was like, maybe a good idea to put the flags that speak Spanish.
Right.
So we included all the flags, Latin America, Central America, that speak Spanish.
Good.
So.
And the response from the public has been really positive about that.
Yes. So they like it. Every time I'll drive by, they give me a thumbs up.
Right. Cool.
Especially down Jeff Davis, where we have a higher population of Hispanics living there.
Dalila, let's jump back to you and your job. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to Chesterfield County?
Sure, yeah. So I was born and raised in Chesterfield County. Love Chesterfield County. My family's originally from El Salvador and immigrated to the U.S. during the Civil War in El Salvador. And I have worked the past 15 or so years in state government and also in the nonprofit sector, working a lot with refugee resettlement and helping connect our immigrant community to resources and sort of championing, asset-based community development. And sort of all of that experience has brought me here to what feels like, my dream job of being able to serve the community that raised me.
Yeah, awesome.
So, as a multicultural person, you don't just work with one organization. Can you tell us some of the organizations, if you'd like to mention? Or?
Sure, yeah. We are a very diverse county. I have the privilege to work with our Arab community, our Asian community, our African community, our Latino community. And there are organizations in our area that represent and serve these communities. So I work with nonprofits like, Latinos in Virginia Empowerment Center. I work with, the Asian and Latino Solidarity Alliance, Asian American Society of Central Virginia, Filipino Association of Central Virginia. And so, I get to just meet so many interesting people with amazing backgrounds that are passionate about, being connectors for our community.
Awesome. Now, how do we partnership that with the police department, your community, and of course you and Jose working together, knowing one another? How do we partnership that?
Yeah, so many different ways. It's almost hard to summarize. Some things that immediately come to mind is, a part of my role is, kind of being a liaison. And so if I have community residents calling to identify concerns or different needs, I'm able to connect with Jose, and he's able to kind of educate and be that bridge. And then other times it's, the fun part of our job, like the community events of being able to educate the community, getting them involved, and just being able to create spaces where our community can come together and share time together. And that's especially meaningful for the residents that we serve that have that multicultural background and want to share, the gifts of their community.
I know with the realignment of our crime prevention and community policing unit, now our community policing captain, Mark Haynes, will be the person who's dealing with the multicultural community and making sure he's overseeing it and all. With us having 550 officers, he or they will tend to specialize in events and then reach out to respective officers in the department to attend and support that community. I've attended a bunch of the events and the food is awesome. It always revolves around food. I'm like, I have no idea what this is, but I am going to eat it. It looks wonderful.
Yes, food always brings people together.
It always
the power
brings people together.
Breaking bread together.
But do we see the relationship with police and community getting better, per se, trusting that if there's some type of crimes or something going on in the community, especially in the Hispanic community, are we accepted as a law enforcement to come in and do our responsibilities and our job to help that community?
I mean, I think it is. Nowadays with technology and everything going on with social media, posting stuff in social media, there's been a big change. I've seen it. A lot of people are reaching out to me. Mainly, a lot of them reach out over my phone because they all have my cell phone, my county cell phone. So they'll call me, they'll text me and be like, hey, officer, I have a question. This is what's going on. This is who I am. Are you able to help me out? So then obviously I'll return the call or the text and be like, yeah, I can help you out. Or it can be a legal matter or it can be a civil matter.
Okay. Awesome.
Where I get involved. If it's a civil matter, a lot of times I'm telling them, hey, this is a civil matter. I kind of like give them resources on who to call. I just can't really, tell them this is what you got to do.
Right.
But yeah, the call volume, I think, with the Hispanics, I know we use a lot of language line because I also fall under like community engagement, where a lot of times I'm not able to respond to certain calls for service just because I'm busy doing something else.
Right.
So I've here on the radio, and obviously it's unfortunate I can't make it sometimes to the call, but I do hear a lot of Hispanics calling in because I can say for experience, back where I'm from, a lot of the officers are the police is really corrupt.
Right.
And there's no trust there. A lot of times they won't call because sometimes the police will even like if they're in a somebody got assaulted, then they'll also get assaulted by the police
Right.
for calling them
Sure.
and, wasting their time over something they shouldn't have called.
Right. So when you have a culture barrier from coming from Mexico or whatever country, then coming to the United States, we're here to, of course, as officers, and I don't care what the media says about some of the things that are going on in our community. We're here for the community.
Correct.
We work for the community. So I just want to know that barrier. Are we doing a better job in communicating to our Hispanic community, to the African American community, or whatever community that we're engaged in? So you see it working.
I see it working.
What can we
yes.
do better?
Post more things on social media, Facebook, obviously Instagram, because a lot of the communities, obviously now social media is a big thing. The internet, it's worldwide.
Right.
So I think we can just probably do better by posting more things in certain languages that
Okay.
Are affected that community.
Now,
So I'm sorry. So
ahead.
let's say like for Jeff Davis, we have a lot of Hispanics that live there. Whatever there's like a crime going on there, post something about it.
Right.
And there's other communities that have a lot of concentrations of a different type of ethnicity.
Okay.
And then post their saying hey, and also in their language.
Okay.
So that way maybe kind of have them included too, not just the Spanish community, but other community members that speak different languages.
Okay. Awesome.
Now, Dalilah, I know in your office you deal with a lot of different cultures. What are the challenges you're presented with, whether it's language or interpreters, or can you give us some insight on what education you provide the public? And
Sure, yeah. A big part of my role is, being the connector. So, connecting with, not just formal organizations, but, our faith communities play a big role in being able to
good.
share information with our residents. I think one of the challenges is that, it's identifying where are those unofficial or wisdom leaders in our community. We have
yes.
folks that have, official titles, but you have those unofficial leaders where people seek them out, for advice, for direction. And a part of my role is, finding those folks and connecting with them so that they're able to help us better serve our community too.
When we talk about that faith base, that's something, of course, in the summertime that we really focused on to get in and talk to them about being part of our community, meaning the police community, recruiting and getting more Spanish or other language speaking officers on the police department so we can reflect our community. That's important for us as recruiters.
Right.
So if we can partnership some more and that we can get there and do our
Absolutely.
different programs this summer, because again, that's when they have the summer programs for churches. You don't have to worry about school, and you can really put an impact on communicating with our citizens in the county.
And moving forward, as we continue to diversify
Right.
the county, what challenges do we have? Outside of
good
social
question.
media, is it the number of employees who help you? Is it outreach? Is it community centers, welcome centers, specialized events?
Yeah, I think, you touched on this a little bit, the idea of having representation across different areas. When our community looks at, Officer Uribe, like they see someone that has their lived experience.
Exactly.
And so that's really valuable, not just within our police force, but in other areas. When you think of, social services, mental health, economic development, all those different areas for there to be, representation that people feel connected. And then I think also, we look at it from the multicultural perspective, but there's also, the generational perspective, right? Are we passing things on to the next generation to feel empowered, to
Right.
feel connected, to understand civic engagement? And I think that those are areas where we are continuing to grow and connect with the community.
Now, you participate in an ongoing radio show?
Yeah. Yes. And Officer Uribe has joined me before. It's a AM radio station, Spanish-speaking radio station, and I'm there each Monday morning sharing out community resources, upcoming county events. And it's been a great platform to be able to share out what we have going on in the county. But it's also been a great platform to get questions and feedback. So usually right after the radio show is when I receive my highest volume of calls for the week of people that heard things like, oh, I want to know more about this event, or, I have a question about this. I wasn't really, quite understanding, this resource. And a lot of times it's really rewarding when people call me and they say, I really appreciate that the county's doing that. I had no idea that that was something that was, available for our community. And I always pass that on to the department. I feel like I get to have the fun part of receiving the compliment, but really it is, X, department that is doing that work.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
I know one of the challenges I've had as the LGBTQ plus liaison is being able to track what I'm doing. Because so much of it is not tangible. It's phone calls, it's referrals. Have you had those challenges? Jose, we want to start with you.
Tracking.
What are you doing? How do you know the position is working? We're government, so most stuff is data driven.
Correct.
Right.
Now, I haven't had that challenge of supervisors asking, "Hey, what are we doing here?" But I do a monthly report. I do write stuff down, but it's sometimes difficult to do.
Okay. Yeah. They really don't. I wouldn't say they track me to see what I'm doing. They know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. A lot of the things when we do it, it's through on our email Outlook.
Sure.
Yes.
Calendar. Just write stuff down there. But for tracking, I really couldn't tell you how is that possible.
Do you think one officer liaison for the police department is working, or do we need more? Do we need more officers that are concentrating on the Hispanic or the community diversity or multicultural?
I think we should also involve other languages to other officers that speak another different language.
Okay.
Let's say Mandarin. Let's say some Middle Eastern, Arabic. Have them also have an officer maybe be a liaison for that too.
Right.
And then see how that goes.
Right.
I think one Hispanic officer right now is fine, but also you want to also include other ethnicities.
Okay.
You don't want to always just base yourself everything on the Hispanic community. You also
Right.
want to have other community be involved in that
Awesome.
too.
Awesome.
Right. So one of the final questions.
We always ask.
We work in pretty high stress jobs. How do you deal with stress? What's your outlet?
My outlet when I go home at the end of the day.
When you take that uniform off, you said, I'm going to spend my time. This is what I like doing.
So obviously I have a big family.
Yes.
So I spend time with my family, and then once I have time to myself, I'll play video games. So that's my outlet.
That's your outlet. Video games.
Video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dalilah, how do you deal with it when you're not working? What's your go-to?
Sure, yeah. I definitely make time for family and friends. Like I have to schedule that in and know that I'm going to commit to that time with them, and that just fills me up again.
Right.
And I want to say too, we spoke a little bit about representation and the things that our different multicultural communities may encounter. It's also been very rewarding and helpful to me to have mentors that have helped me through the professional growth journey and the things that I encounter.
Right. Okay.
Wow.
So if someone from the community wants to reach out to you, Dalilah, how do they go about doing that?
Sure, yeah. My office number is 804-796-7085, or they can also call me on my cell at 804-420-2445. I'm out and about in the community, so sometimes a cell phone, will be the best way to reach me. And of course, my email is medranod@chesterfield.gov.
Okay.
Awesome.
And Jose?
Yes, my email, it's Uribe, Uribe, J, @chesterfield.gov. My county cell phone is 804-263-4877. That's how you
He
would
knows
reach.
his county phone number, Elliott.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Do we know ours?
I do.
Another great, thank you all. Thank you so much. And again, we do this to, again, the partnership with our community, let them know, be as, what we call it, as transparent as possible letting them know what's going on, not only in the police department, but for the county itself. Partner, great job. Great
Yes.
podcast, another great podcast that we have done with our community, with our diversity community. And hey, what can we do? What can we say?
I'm very pleased. I know traditionally, like we've said many times before, people see us as the people who are riding around in the cars,
Right.
working accidents, and responding to calls of service. But,
Exactly.
our police department is extremely diverse.
Right.
With the opportunities that we have, with 557 people
Exactly.
authorized to work here and 28 specialized units,
Yep.
it shows a good example of how our Hispanic liaison works with the multicultural
Exactly.
office as well to make it happen for our not only the people who live here, but the people who happen to visit
Exactly.
Chesterfield
Exactly.
County. So I'm very pleased. I want to thank you both
Thank
for
you
coming in
both.
today.
Yes, thank you.
I'd
Excellent
like to
job.
remind our listeners that if they're interested in employment, they can go to www.joinccpd.org. You can also follow us on social media and reach out and just get started in a career today.
Again, if you want to be with Chesterfield County Police Department, please give us a call. We would love to communicate with you and see if we can bring you aboard.
That's right.
Thank you, partner.
Thank you, sir.